Well, howdy, roofers, and welcome to Roofer Growth Hacks, the podcast that's dedicated to highlighting those in the roofing industry, learning how they overcame growth challenges with creative growth hacks, and then connecting them with others in the roofing industry. I'm your host, Chris Hunter, founder and chief marketing officer of roofingsites.com. I'm also the author of The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on to Roofer Growth Hacks. So super pumped to have you on today. Why don't we just kind of kick this off? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your entrepreneurial journey? Where did you start? Where are you at now?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Chris. I'm happy to be here. So, yeah, I am third generation in the remodeling industry. My roots go back. My grandpa started in the 50s and my dad in the 70s and myself out of college in the early 2000s. So it's been in my blood forever. I went on sales calls with my dad when I was a kid, and it just stuck. It just, whatever it was, I went to college to try to figure out if that was what I wanted to do. And you know, sure as shit, couple of years out of college, I was like, what am I doing? Let's just get back to this. So it really was kind of second nature for me, probably because I grew up in it, but also I had a natural bend for entrepreneurship, and I knew I wanted to have and own my own business from a young kid. So it just made sense to do what I already knew how to do, instead of trying to do something else. I stuck with it, and my dad gave me the keys to the business right out of college and said, this is you're naturally good at doing, the operations and the marketing, and he was more naturally fit for sales. And so it was a really cool thing because his ego didn't get in the way. He just gave it to me, man. And it's been a learning experience and trial by fire ever since.
Wow. That's super
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Tons of questions along with that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, also, and like, what do you do? All those kinds of things.
Yeah, sure. Three Generations is a remodeling business in Northern California. We're in Folsom, and we specialize in exterior improvements. So siding, windows, and decking are kind of our three areas of expertise. So we really just stay on the remodeling side. Kind of avoided the pitfalls. I think a lot of people my peers, they're constantly wanting to add products and services, and we kind of avoided that, to be honest. Every time we try to add something, we're like, we just got to get back to what we're good at. And
Yeah,
so we really have just focused on being really good at those. And it's really served us well, honestly.
that's cool. So
Yeah.
when you do also do window siding and decking, is that what you said?
Yeah. Yep. Correct.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of our roofers do siding and windows. Not so much on the decking side of things, but let's talk a little bit more into that on the siding and windows side of things. Like,
Mhm.
how did you get into doing those, and you know how are you selling those, for your company?
Yeah, so really it started because that's what my grandpa, he was actually more on the distribution manufacturer side. So
Mhm.
he worked for companies like Alsco, Anaconda, Certainty, Allside, like all those old school siding manufacturers. So he really started teaching the siding industry to my dad, Kurt, at a young age. So that's really why we stuck with it, is we already knew everything about the products and services. And that was back in the Tin Man days of like freaking aluminum and steel and then vinyl. And so like we saw all of these different, progressions of technology, some good, some not so good, come through the marketplace. And so really the longevity that we have is back to that. Like seen it, installed it, some have blown up in our face. So really it's been a heck of a learning experience, because when we say we have experience, like we have legit like experience. This was back in the day when it was like, people were installing real wood
Yeah.
siding, and then the industry was like, dude, this is too expensive. We got to come up with some alternatives, and everything just started coming from there. So that's really how it started in the siding industry. And then windows just kind of followed because they're so related, right?
Mhm.
It's hard, a lot of the life cycles of homes are, the siding and windows are kind of dying at the same time. So it made sense for us to add that product line. The decking is just kind of like it's part of a specialty license with the siding. not a giant fan of decking just because it's such a pain in the ass for permitting and things like
Yeah.
that. So it's our third product, but the siding and windows are just so related. It made sense for us to really learn and immerse ourselves in those two.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
love that. And we have a lot of roofers that I have a lot of roofers that come to me that are either kind of in that space of like being a general contractor and they're trying to get to something that they can sell that's repeatable, that's easier to do versus, home
Mhm.
remodeling or just being a general contractor, right? So can you
Right.
talk a little bit into that versus like something like windows and siding?
Yeah, you know what? I think because we're a family and a lean and mean team, I don't think we had the bandwidth for that. The general thing never attracted us because we really didn't want the low margin of home building and the headaches of lawsuits and liability, and especially in California.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
just didn't see that as a good fit for us. So really, the general contractor thing is wild because I don't really know how you can learn all of those trades. I think generally you can't, right? You probably have a couple core things you're good at, and everything else is you're kind of winging it. And we never really wanted that. We wanted to be real specialty contractors in that we really know how to do this. We know how to install it. We know everything soup to nuts. And so that just fit our style of really going hitting the market with quality craftsmanship, but also just top knowledge. So we really do educate our clients a lot. We're more on the consultative side.
Mhm.
So because we have all that knowledge in our brains and might as well use it to our advantage, and that's really what we do.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So you said earlier that you're good at operations and marketing, your dad's good at sales, right?
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about marketing and how it's kind of changed over the years since the early 2000s.
Oh, dude. So, I mean, just the business in general, there's like nothing similar. I remember back when I was riding with my dad as a kid, that was before cell phones, right? So there was a bunch of quarters, in his console, and it was like constantly pulling off to freaking go to a pay phone, which is so weird now to think about. And then,
Yeah.
maps, legit maps. I had to learn how to read a map when I was a little kid. And so all those things, that was the beginning, but also no internet. So how do you get leads? It was like word of mouth and referrals were giant. This
Yeah.
was back in the day when neighbors actually talked to each other,
Yeah.
because they had to go find a contractor.
Hmm.
Homeowners had to find them too. So like they would go like, "Hey, I saw you did your house. Who did it?" So there was referrals were huge, but also like you had to get into like crappy stuff like phone books. You had to get into home shows.
Hmm.
You had to go door knock. You had to leave flyers. It was all just sweat equity stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was low cost. You didn't have to spend a lot of money for it. But nowadays, it's like, it's everything's online, everything's digital. Almost all of our marketing is digital somewhere, somehow. So I think that's why, my dad saw the writing on the wall. He's like, I ain't gonna freaking learn all that stuff. So maybe you should take over the marketing part, because it's just you have to stay on top of it. And I had a business degree in marketing, so it was kind of a natural fit for me. But yeah, I mean, even so, it's with especially with AI now and everything else, like there's no way I'm going to always stay on top of it.
Yeah.
So definitely hire teams and agencies that can really come alongside you and help you, because I don't want to be a marketer. That's not my job.
100%. But it sure
Yeah.
helped you, right? I mean, getting
Yeah, the
from
college
there to
discussion's a
here.
little rough, Chris. The college discussion's a little rough. I don't know, man. I don't really draw on my college experience and my day-to-day job. I know it's been a while, but even so, even right out of college, I didn't. It
Mhm.
just was so different from book knowledge and, obviously the theories of supply and demand and learning statistics and gross margin
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Those things, sure, sure.
Yeah.
But like a whole college degree on it, nah,
Yeah.
nah, man, I'm not using it.
Yeah. I did marketing too, at Texas A&M and um accounting was my Achilles heel, right? Accounting
Yeah,
just ate my lunch. So,
right.
um
I get you.
Right brain, left brain kind of thing,
I
right?
still hate accounting myself. It's not my
Yes,
favorite.
100%. Hate it. My business partner does that stuff. I don't do it. All right. So, um, all right, windows and siding, and it sounds like you're pretty much dominating in your market, third generation, right? What kind of advice would you give someone, obviously not in your market, but starting out, right? And really wanting to build a business just like you did.
God, I would do things so much differently. I think, just trying to get them to come up with processes for their business and systematize their business
Hmm.
from the start would be such a giant help because it's just, this is such a low barrier of entry job, right? Like anybody can really go get a contractor's license and start a business and you're learning on the fly and unfortunately and fortunately we're very busy and like you get busy and years go by like a flash and your business is kind of there's nothing really stable about it.
Yeah.
There's no processes in place. There's freaking sticky notes like this shit everywhere and you're just like, yeah, and but you're busy and the phone's ringing and you're just getting to the next client and you're putting out the next fire and like you just don't get a lot of time to work on your business. So
Mhm.
I would say right out the gate, figure out the process, even if you have to hire somebody out the gate to come up with a system for you so that you can kind of hit the ground and not have all these bad habits because the habits are just it's so easy to get them and then it's so hard to get out of them. So I would say that would be the number one thing that I would have done better is have some systems in place. Otherwise, it's just like I said, you're learning on the fly, and if you don't learn, if you don't find the way to learn on the fly, I mean, you're just putting yourself at risk for ultimate failure.
100%. Now, and I don't know on the windows and siding side of things, but are there, like frameworks? Are there, things out there that people can just plug right into and buy maybe a whole set of SOPs or something like that?
There's there's EOS, there's a lot
Hmm.
of programs and systems that are in place. It's not really geared for the brand new guy though,
Yeah.
right? These are more for the people trying to get to that 5 to 10,
Yeah.
it's so like I didn't feel that there was a lot for the new guys. And I don't know, maybe because I'm not on that spot, maybe there are such things. Obviously, there's a lot of consultants now. I mean,
Hmm.
as you know, like there's a lot in that space that maybe I didn't know existed when I was young. Obviously, the internet was still kind of young,
Hmm.
so like now their consultants are at your fingertips, and you can really get guidance and help on just hey, I need help with just any business stuff,
Yeah.
or going and getting a CPA or a VA, and all these people that can come alongside you and pick up your slack. There's a lot there, but I don't know about like a system for like, hey, here's out of the box,
Yeah.
let's get you set up. I've never seen that, and there's
Okay.
not the manufacturers are not super helpful. Most of them in terms of helping your business, they really have their own problems. So I really never found that to be helpful either.
Yeah, I almost feel like you could use, Chat GPT or any other of those chats, like Gemini or Claude, or I mean, there's tons of them out there nowadays. I almost feel like you could probably get to a point to where it can give you at least a basic outline, and you can tweak it as your business needs it. But
Absolutely, or at least give it prompts and say, hey, go find them for me. Like, hey, what are some
yeah.
businesses that specialize in this? I mean, so many tools now to help you get started.
Mhm.
Just the key is to not just do it by yourself and think that you can do it because
Yeah.
it's not going to happen well.
Yeah, 100%. Now, all right. So, flip side of this, what were the biggest mistakes that you made along the way, that you would do different now, other than the whole processes thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think for us, we struggled so long and we still are. We're in this process of relinquishing control.
Hmm.
And I'm a control freak, and because it's all on my shoulders and head a lot of times, um, I always felt I can do the job better. So not giving away enough. So we're in the process now of trying to start the process of replacing ourselves.
Yeah.
And that has been a very difficult thing for me especially. So I would say that's something would be great earlier on to really set that up and to find. I did try to find Keyman. That just didn't work out, right? So
Hmm.
sometimes it is a little bit of luck with finding the right people.
Hmm.
So I think that's the too. You always got to be looking for people, and if you find one, figure out how to hire them and plug them into your business, because they're just so few and far between that if you let them slip through your fingers and they're running their own business now, you're like, crap,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So like, I would say, yeah, people would be the one, finding the right people that can really take some of my weight off of me would have been ideal.
So, you mentioned EOS earlier. Like, are you running EOS now in your business?
I'm not right now. It might happen this next year. Like I said, we're in this cool transformation process right now, which is it's a great thing where we're looking forward to a lot of growth and changes this next year. So we're kind of like priming everything for a real big run next year. So yeah, it might come. I don't know. We shall see what system fits us best, but the bottom line is we're already starting to systematize as much as possible, create automations, create efficiencies that
Mhm.
technology can do for you. And so we're trying our best to plug those in now so that we don't just plug people into those. That's kind of our goal this year is finding all those processes that we can really plug into.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Well, all right. So we kind of touched on this a little bit. I'm an AI geek, so I love talking AI. What
Mhm.
are you guys using in your business as far as AI and as far as all that goes?
Yeah, we're using AI for all of our blog writing, social media posts, content driven things. So really we're prompting it what we're looking for in terms of content, and this, especially in the siding space, region specific. So it's pulling in regions that we like to work in,
Mhm.
and then having it help us write it, and then with those the writings, create social posts that can kind of follow that too. So that would be the biggest one. I use it a lot, just day to day stuff. Like one of my crews calls me and says, "Hey, I can't remember the install detail on this." Instead of like trying to go find them, just
Yeah.
put it into Chat GPT and get like the legit. Just, oh, here's a picture. So just little day to day things. I'd love to create a little Jeremy chatbot agents around there that just can kind of learn
Yeah.
from me. That's something I'd like to do, so that maybe I can have like a little assistant that
Hmm.
is constantly learning what I do, and maybe have it, help answer questions of my people too. So there are little things, but for the most part, it's been content. That's been the easiest one for
Yeah.
us to tackle.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of companies, is
Yeah,
and it's really the lowest hanging fruit, I would say, for tools like ChatGPT. That was the very first thing that we started using it for, for even for our own clients. I think the
right,
key is training it on your brand voice and training it to where it knows all of your like simple things like your services, your service area, even
yeah.
your just the way that you would write something like
Right.
that, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's tricky. Obviously I do my best to revise and do to add features, but at the same time, like it's not something that I like to do. I don't like
Yeah,
to get I don't
yeah,
have time to do social media, all
yeah,
that stuff. I know it's kind of something you have to do, but it's not my natural bend. So, having it done by others is freaking great for
yeah,
me. I'd rather not touch it at all, to be
yeah,
honest.
100%. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of things. When you're running a business, you wear so many freaking hats. Um,
Hmm.
and that's just one of those that unless that's your jam, unless that's what you really want to do, it's best to have someone else do that kind of stuff. Even if it's an assistant in your office doing that. Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about, some industry trends. What are you seeing in the industry right now that we really need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, it's odd. I know there are a lot of industries that have been down this year, and obviously the home building and the home starts, and there's a lot of trades that have really been struggling to stay busy. I've kind of, because I have my own podcast and because I have a lot of networking nationwide, I do hear from my peers, and it seems to be, the biggest thing is leads has been the biggest trend I've seen go down. And I think really it's out of the post-COVID thing.
Hmm.
The COVID thing gave us all sorts of freaking bad habits, in that the phone just freaking ran off the hook
Yeah.
during those couple years,
Yeah.
and we didn't have to do shit. It was just like you have to freaking maybe have your lights on,
Yeah.
maybe not. I mean,
Yeah.
it just was like, so I think that gave some people a false sense of reality, in that, that was like a new norm. I never thought it was going to be a new norm. So coming out of those COVID years, especially the last maybe two, we really stepped on our marketing and advertising. We spent a lot more because we knew we had to do that in order to get the same kind of lead volume. And so many people have that scarcity mindset of like, oh man, they just look at the cost of marketing
Mhm.
and it's expensive, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know how else they think they're going to get it. Like I said, the
Yeah.
referral thing and just good job site stuff is not, that's not sustainable, especially with how private people are these days. So
Yeah.
for us, I think seeing the leads be very difficult to get has
Hmm.
been what the most trend I've seen in kind of a negative way. A lot of people are down in their sales this year.
Hmm.
I think just from that reason alone. We're up 30%, so we're doing great, but I think it's mainly to do the fact that we've been willing to spend more and try different avenues and keep trying stuff. And we track all of our leads, so we do our best to have kind of an idea on our cost per lead
Hmm.
and cost per sale. And just the sit rate is a huge one. Like, so if you're spending money on a certain one, and
Yeah.
you hardly ever sit people down, it's like just move on.
Yeah.
Try something different.
Right. 100%. Awesome. So just out of curiosity, because I am a marketer, what's your best marketing channel right now?
Ooh. Um, well, obviously referrals is going to be the biggest. Anything around a job site has always been great, right? So we have a good referral program. We try to reward our clients for every lead and every sale. Things like that are always going to be great, but that's the obvious answer. For us, we have a great pay-per-click agency that handles our pay-per-click and Google LSA ads, and that has really given us a lot of lead volume. It's not always excellent in terms of sale rate, but they are great at making it efficient and constantly tweaking and making it better,
Yeah.
staying on top of all of Google's garbage that they have coming out. So that for us has been the best lead source we've had this year. If you can really find a great agency, and I have one if you need it, that cares and that doesn't just put shit on autopilot. Those are the type of teams you want to have around you, so that you don't have to learn it on your own, because it's a wild space
Yeah.
that's constantly changing, and you can't expect to know how to stay on top of that.
100%. And it's changing faster than ever right now with AI
Right.
and with, I mean, just even AI, trying to keep up with the AI alone, this right now is just, it's a chore, right?
Yeah. No
Yeah.
doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
All right. Well, this concludes our regular part of our round. We're about to jump into our lightning round here, but before we do, we're going to pause here for a message from our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up for a roofing marketing strategy session with me. All right. And we are back for the lightning round. We have one rule here. One rule only. Basically, you have 1 minute or less to answer each of these questions. All right. You ready, Jeremy?
Okay. I'll try. Are you gonna put a timer up?
No, I'm not that mean. All right. First question. What is your favorite personal hack? This could be a book, podcast, pretty much anything goes. We're roofer growth hacks.
Oh man, I'm really in this mindset stuff. I've been in a mastermind group called Inner Blueprint with
Mhm.
Sean Foyer, and I would say that's going to be my biggest growth hack right now is getting around other entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
learning from them, and figuring out how to create a new process for you, some habits that will make you a better person and better entrepreneur. So for me, it's always going to be that. How do I change my mind?
100%. Yeah, my business coach says that your business's limitation is you, right? And if you're
Right.
not improving yourself, then your business is not going to improve.
Correct.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. Next question. What is your favorite business hack? Again, this could be a book, podcast, whatever. Anything goes here.
Ooh, business hack. I would say, for me, I'm on this journey of finding the right people. So, building up people on your team. And whatever that looks like for
Mhm.
you, it's going to be different for everybody. But how do you really get into understanding who your team is, what they want and desire, and helping building them up? Because if you build them up, then you're creating that win-win. Everyone's going to succeed together. I think too many of us just get on autopilot and it's all about the bottom line, and you forget that there's a bunch of people that are there supporting you. So making sure you understand their goals first.
Love that. Love that. Absolutely. All right, Jeremy, what is the best advice that you've ever been given? And you get bonus points here for letting us know how you actually applied it.
Ooh, that's great. I mean, I think advice from my father is a word. It's our favorite term, integrity.
Mm.
So for us, our slogan at our business is it's not just your home, it's our legacy. So we really have a legacy in mind when we do our work. And so that integrity piece is huge. What we're doing when no one's looking is massive.
Mhm.
And for doing that for clients, doing it the right way. And if it doesn't go right, so I'll give you the example, like, a client didn't like what happened on the wall. The siding didn't turn out great on this wall. And so we told her we'd just do it over.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looked at us like, there's no way, right? Like she just kind of figured that there was going to be an argument. She
Yeah.
was just ready.
Yeah.
And so we just said, we'll just redo it. And so we redid it, and it turned a negative review, negative client into a positive one. And I think just like little things like that through the years, it just constantly reminds us of why we're doing it. And if we're
Mhm.
building it for that longevity and doing it the right way with character, it's all going to come back to you.
Love that. Love that. Well, Jeremy, how can the Roofer Growth Hacks family get in touch with you? How can we support you and encourage you moving forward?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, probably LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. I would say that's the best way to kind of reach me. I also do a monthly podcast live show called Construction Executives Live. So that's another way to kind of stay in touch with me. So it's been a really cool thing. And just like we were talking about, Chris, you're constantly learning from others, and so a
Mhm.
lot of the content is based on stuff that I'm missing. So
Yeah.
oddly,
Yeah.
so it's just me just finding those little nuggets of information that I can apply to my business. So yeah, check me out there. I'm a big networker, so if anybody ever wants to jump on a call and find out how to create some win-wins, Jeremy at usconstructionzone.com is a great way to reach me. So yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Roofer Growth Hacks. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that you connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram or YouTube, or listen to more of these episodes by going to roofingsites.com and listening to any of our previous episodes. I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, roofingsites.com. Since 2018, roofingsites.com has helped roofers double their sales by getting their marketing right using the 4R roofing marketing system. If you're a roofing company owner wanting to grow your business, be sure to go to roofingsites.com and sign up with a roofing marketing strategy session with me. Also, this past year, I published my book, The Ultimate Guide to Digital Marketing for Roofers. If you are a roofing company owner and you don't have this book in your hands, I will send you a free digital copy. Just go to go.roofingsites.com and I'll send you a free copy of my book. Well, roofers, join me next time when we connect with another great roofing entrepreneur and learn how they hack their growth. Until then, I'm Chris Hunter. Thanks and gig 'em.